Mexico, a country located in the southern and North America. It is 3 times the size of Texas and spans an area of 1,972,550 kilometers. Mexico's terrain ranges from tall mountains and terrifying volcanoes to beautiful coast and refreshing rivers. Surrounding these natural creations are 32 federal entities forming the United Mexican States, containing 69 spoken languages within its cities, towns, and villages. Nahuatl and Yucatec. Maya have some facts, like how long Yucatec Maya has lasted in Mexico as far back as 200 AD. And the origin for the word chocolate, meaning the food of gods in Nahuatl. Now on to the interview with Angel and his sister.
It's early in the morning. I get up from bed and go to get some breakfast. As I get my breakfast, I sit down in the living room. I wait for the clock to hit 8, and once it hits 8, I call my sister. The phone rings for a while. As usually, my sister takes forever to pick up the phone. Once she picked up the phone, I asked her if she was busy. She said no. I said okay. I asked her if she had time for me to ask her some questions for a project. She said yes, and I began asking my questions. Our first question, I asked how long she's been in the United States for, and how old was she when she came here. She giggled and said she was around 13 when she came with a journey to come here with my brother, who was around 10. She said that the journey was long and daunting, as he had to go through the desert and near the border to go to California. From then, she said that she would hang out with the family for a bit until it was time for her to take a plane to New York, where my mom, with the help of some friends, would pick her up in the car alongside my brother. She said that she was scared of coming here to the United States, especially on the plane, since she's never been on one before. Now she flies regularly and lost by the time she was scared. I then asked her what was something that really scared her on her way here. She talked about the time where she was really scared of getting caught crossing here with my brother, since she heard stories of people not really seeing each other for a long time. She was worried that it would happen to them. Fortunately, she made it through and got home to my mom. I then asked her my next question, what was something that shocked her? And she stayed quiet for a bit, thinking, then responded with how much stricter the laws were. An example could be driving. And she told me that in Mexico, kids would be driving around the age of 12, and she couldn't even drive until she was 16. That really shocked her, but what shocked her more is how cheap everything was. Small candies in Mexico were a couple of pesos, but here they're like $1, so everything seemed cheap for her at the time. I then asked her if it was difficult leaving Mexico. She giggled and said yes, that she had her friends and boyfriend and everybody she knew was in their town. She said she had her brother with her, so that kept her spirits high, but she was still sad that she had to leave everything behind. She said it was hard saying goodbye to them, especially since it could be the last time that she would be able to see them. And I asked her if it was difficult for her getting used to the United States, where she responded with, not really. She explained that the school she enrolled in the year she came here was fortunate enough to have classes that taught kids English, mainly kids from like other Latin American countries that also came here illegally. She said it took her a while to learn English and read, write it, but ultimately she came out pretty fluently alongside my brother. They both made friends and made their lives here, which led to my next question: if they would ever want to go back to Mexico, or would they rather stay here? My sister said she would stay here, as this is where she kind of grew up now, and she made her life and started a family here. But she also mentioned if she had that option to go to and from Mexico to travel freely, she would take it, as she could visit family that she didn't see in a long time, and even new family members that she never met, since when she left, a bunch of our family members were kids as well, and now they're grown up as well and had other kids. So she said she'll be happy to see them and meet them for the first time in years. To see her aunt that took care of her when my mom left, and see what changed in the little town that she grew up in. She gave a long, hard speech about how she loved to hear, but would not want to go back to Mexico, as she believed that this country is the best place for her kids to grow up in, rather than in a village with little to no running water and poor schools. She would rather be here struggling a bit than in Mexico with her family, so because she wants a better life for her kids. At the end of her little talk, once again Ultima told me that she would rather stay here, and asked me if I had any more questions. Unfortunately, not, since and I was falling asleep. But one question was a lead up to a past question. Why did everything seem cheap to her? She saw that everything was $1 or $2 for different size candy bars or chips. She was shocked to see that a doll she could get was like $10, $15, when in Mexico it would have cost about 200 pesos. It doesn't seem much, she said, but the dollar is worth a lot more than the peso. A dollar being about 20 pesos. She said that if she had $1, she would go buy candies from the store. But if she was given 100 pesos, she's gonna come like that with a handful of treats, perhaps. As if she had money, because she didn't. She mentioned she grew up a bit poorer than most, and so candies were more of a novel, like a luxury item. She said small candies would cost a fortune almost. In her eyes, as growing up, she didn't have much money, so she didn't spend much on candy. But when she continued to us, she said she was regularly buy a lot of candy because that's also her name in Spanish. So she found it kind of fitting that she would buy candy a lot as she grew up here. And that was my final question, just asking her what made her feel that everything was a lot cheaper. As a few hours rolled by with me talking to her, I thanked her for her time and answering my questions. As unfortunately she had to go, and she couldn't answer anymore. I thanked her and ended my recording.